Hello, today I'd like to show you how to make a simple couch using cloth modifier. We will focus more on cloth than dragging vertices. Cloth will make a lot easier modeling this couch, preserving natural shape, and it will speed up the process of making this model. We will start with a simple shape that resembles the shape of a couch. It does not have to be perfect, more or less. Everything is scaled 1:1. As you can see, this shape is simple, it's not complicated. Those will be useful later, so I hide it for now. So let's start. First I use tessellate to subdivide those boxy shape. Don't make the model too heavy or cloth will work very slowly, unless you have a fast machine. As you can see, 12,000 is enough. So we have our couch and we want to shape it as our reference. So let's begin. Choose cloth modifier and choose object properties and sofa, which is cloth, and choose cotton preset. We will not change much in this dialog box, we only need to set the pressure. Let's use 12 for pressure, and which is damping. Damping controls how fast our couch is pumped. The higher setting damps pumping speed. We'll set it to 3, which is okay. And then we turn off the gravity, and then we choose group. We don't need to simulate the bottom of the couch, so we first need to select some vertices. So we have selected bottom, but we need to unselect border vertices, so the edges will be nicely smoothed after simulation. So now we will unselect those vertices and edges. Unselecting. And OK. Now we will make a group from those selected vertices, and then we press preserve. This tells for cloth modifier not to include this group in simulation. The next step, we set units. And we set them to 0.6. After you can read to set here to 0.54, like max interior. units for centimeters, but we use it to special purposes today, and we'll set it to 0.6 at the beginning. Setting below 1 makes material more stiff. During simulation it will behave like leather, or even something harder, something more stiff than leather. Okay, I change viewport to top and press Simulate Local button. As you can see, we have nice rounded edges here, and our couch is starting to look more realistic. If something went wrong to delay the simulation, you can always use Reset State button to come back to initial shape. Now we can choose 0.5 again and again. We can simulate local. As you can see, bottom is not simulated. We choose 0.8 to get more round shape and simulate local again. A little too much. Okay. Next we change units to 3.6. This value will make corners of material softer. They will smooth the shape of entire couch. The bigger value in unit box, the more elastic material is. And simulating. Here we have some slight error, but it's okay. Reset state. We have to make simulation again to achieve the perfect look of our couch. A little too much. If your simulation runs too fast, increase subsample count. Okay, quite fine. Now let's change the value to 3.4 and again simulate local. Now let's see what will happen to corners. Okay, they are rounding. Maybe a little more. So we have our beautiful couch, almost perfect. Let's turn off Turbo Smooth, we don't need it right now. After we are fine with our simulation, we convert our model to editable poly, so we have our base. We can now, of course, use a very useful tool as Freeform, which is Shift, change strength to smaller, and we can fix some imperfections in our model. Here is bulge a little too big, a bit too big, so you'll make it smaller and flatten polygons. Here also to give our couch a more natural look. and here too. Okay. We can move some vertices here and there. It will look more natural. Okay. So, why we need such geometry? The reason is simple. At the end, it will be a lot easier to make seams and to make UV mapping. It will be very simple. So we have a nice base shape of our couch. It looks very nice. We shut this now. And now it's time to make some pillows and seats. I prepared earlier both models, the pillows and seats. We will start with seats. Those are just simple boxes. So select one of them. As you can see, it's tessellated to squares. It's better to have square polygons. Cloth is working in more predictable and uniform way with such shapes. And of course it is a lot easier to make seams later. We can use a freeform tool to make corners more round to help our cloth modifier, so I'm gonna do it right now. It's not obligatory, but the end result will look much better. Okay, after this preparing, we position it over the couch. We leave some space around it. We will simulate it falling down, so we knit it hanging in the air. To simulate falling, we need to select both objects. So we select our seat, we select the couch, and we choose cloth modifier. Object properties, and for sofa, which is our couch here, we choose collision object. It needs to be inactive, and set depth and offset to 0.2. It's the distance between simulated object and collision object. They do not need to touch, we'll fix that later. And then we choose our seat, select cut and press it, and change pressure to 4 and damping to 8. Okay. And in this case we need gravity to be turned on. I usually input a value bigger than standard. Before simulation, we change units value to 0.8 to make our material a little more stiff, and let's simulate. Impact. As you can see, it does not pump itself too fast, so we reset state, go to object properties, and change pressure value to 10 and simulate again. And now it's good. A little while before the impact we stop our simulation and change units value to 3.2. This will make material softer. After this we can resume our simulation. Well, it doesn't look too good for me, so let's reset and change the values. Let's change to 0.8. Now again the result is still unsatisfying for me, so let's go to object properties and change pressure to 15 and damping to 5. The object will be pumped a little more. Well, we need some trials and errors to set things perfectly. So again we simulate local, and when it's impact we change units to 3.4 and resume our simulation. Well, it lies nicely now. So we have our first seat. And now we can convert it to poly and take another one. We will repeat our process. Of course, we could just copy the previous seat, but if we want to have a unique couch, we will have to make the simulation again. But we'll change the settings so it will not look as a clone. So glove, object properties, sofa, object collision, O2, O2. And now glove, cotton, press it, pressure 15 and damping 4. Okay. And let's change gravity to standard 30 value, yeah? And let's leave units to 0.8. Self-collision 1. Okay. Let's simulate local. One thing, reset, simulate again. Yes, when it's impact, we stop it. change units to 3.4 and resume simulation. Well, it looks good, so we have 2 seats now. You can see a difference with simulation effects. Okay. This one has not too much space, so we have to convert all this stuff to poly, and we'll make other sets smaller with FDD modifier, and convert to poly again, and another set FDD, control points, yep, and convert to poly. We can also use a freeform shift tool. So you can remove this bulge with this tool. Those imperfections make seats look more natural. And we are ready to simulate the third seat. We can position it a little bit higher, so it will fall from gray to height. We select all objects, seats and sofa. We set 2 seats and sofa as collision objects, and set a depth and offset for them as 0.2. And our middle set, we set the cut and preset. Gravity normal units 0.8, and let's simulate. I forget about pressure, so we need to open object properties again, set it to 18 and damping to 4, and let's simulate. Okay, it's impact. Let's change the value to 3.6 and resume simulation. The result is a bit bigger than previous, and we can fix it with FDD modifier.